Call the meeting to order. Welcome to the September regular session of the Black Mountain Board of Aldermen. I'd like to remind you that our meetings are televised on Friday at 8 o'clock, on Saturday at 2 p.m., and then again on Sunday at 8 p.m. I'd like to remind you also at this time to turn off any telephones, cell phones, beepers, if you would please. Let us stand and do a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Pastor Kevin Bennett of Mountain View Church will do our invocation. Let us pray.
Father, thank you for this beautiful day outside as we can sense the wind of autumn returning. Thank you that we live in a country that is free as we stand under the Purple Mountains majesty in this wonderful, beautiful part of western North Carolina. And Lord, on this eve of the day following a time when the evil of this world tried to shake the very foundations of our nation, we thank you that we still stand united as one nation under God, indivisible. And Lord, tonight as this board meets, I pray for divine guidance and wisdom, that you would help us see that you have a plan and a purpose, and that we are the instruments that you use to bring about your will. So God, we just thank you for your grace and your mercy, and we give you thanks for all of these things in the name of your Son. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Bennett. This time I'd like to call on Mr. E.V. Goods to make an announcement.
Thank you. First, if I may, I'd like to thank your town clerk, Mr. Christnett, and your public works director, Mr. Combs, for their quick response to my concerns concerning the deplorable condition of the Centennial Monument. Mr. Combs has told me that he signed a contract with Shane Belton to bring this back to a condition that we once again can take pride in. Thank you. My purpose for being here is the Black Mountain Neuromedical Treatment Center has an ongoing equestrian therapy program that has been very successful in the emotional treatment and bringing pleasure and comfort to the residents there with developmental disabilities and those who are afflicted with the Alzheimer's disease. The state quit funding this program this year. So the Black Mountain Center Foundation has been trying to raise money to keep this program going. One of the things that we did, one member donated a coveted book, The History of Black Mountain and Its People. And we had a raffle at the Cirewood Festival. And at this time, I'd like to ask the mayor to draw the winner of that.
Gonna be one happy person, a bunch of bad people, huh?
Can't read it.
No, I can't.
Do you have a phone number?
There's a phone number on it, 843-693-5556.
See if Tim can read the name. That's okay, we just call the phone number.
Why don't you pass it down to one of the young ones?
McCurdy,
Huh?
McCurdy, MCCURD.
What it looks like.
That sounds like a Mr. McCurdy. Anyway, we'll get to look to him. Thank you
Thank you.
very much for giving me the time.
We do have some proclamations tonight. One was honoring Pablo Stone. At this time, I'd like to read it. Whereas Pablo Stone, a resident of Christ Mountain and Black Mountain since 1993, recently received the Will Whitcamper Peace and Justice Award, which honors persons who have dedicated themselves to a lifetime of advancing the causes of peace and justice. And whereas Mr. Stone has spent 30 years in Latin America, 13 as a missionary in Mexico, 8 of these years with the HIFER project, serving all of Mexico and 7 other countries with the UN World Food Program and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture. And whereas while living in the Washington, D.C. area prior to moving to Black Mountain, Mr. Stone represented the Disciples Peace Fellowship of the Christian Church in congressional lobbying efforts and was also a representative of the Task Force on Latin America and the Caribbean. And whereas Pablo has participated in School of the Americas Watch for 7 years in Fort Benning, Georgia, and also in the Ecumenical Advocacy Days for several years, advocating for health care and ending the Cuban boycott and other issues. And whereas Mr. Stone's local involvement has included the pairing project between the Russian town of Krasnaya Polyana and Black Mountain, which is now known as the Sister City Project, and the Martin Luther King Corporation that sponsors the yearly MLK prayer breakfast. Whereas he is a member of Western Carolinians for Peace and Justice in the Middle East, and is currently on the board of the United Nations Association of Asheville and the Funeral Consumers Alliance. Whereas Pablo has been a member of the Montreat Friends of Music Board for several years, and for the past 12 years has served on the Swannoa Chamber Music Festival Board at Warren Wilson College. And whereas in the late 1990s, Mr. Stone served his local community as a member of the Town of Black Mountain Urban Forestry Commission. Now, therefore, I, Carl Bartlett, Mayor of the Town of Black Mountain, and on behalf of the Board of Aldermen and all our citizens, we extend congratulations and recognition to Pablo Stone as he continues his life's passion to promote peace and compassion for those who are disadvantaged or marginalized by the powerful. Signed this 12th day of September 2011. Pablo, if you come forward. It's a real honor.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you for all you've done.
Now, a few minutes.
Take a look.
Oh,
Sure. Go
thank you.
ahead.
Okay. This is a real honor. Thank you. Thank you especially Bruce Brandon for suggesting it. I would like to I just wish my dad were here because he's been an inspiration. Some of you old timers know my father was Mr. Sourwood. He, after 40 years of rural ministry, said as he retired at Christ Mountain, he became a botanist. He knew the botanical and common name of every plant, wildflower, and tree in the mountains. And of all of those, he chose the sourwood as the ideal tree for this town because it's native to this area. It's only tree that blooms in the late summer, and its black flowers have the best, sweetest honey, the Cadillac of honeys of all the bees. And so he was my inspiration. And he talked to the Kiwanis, the Rotary, Iron, every service club, convinced the Chamber of Commerce, and finally this board agreed that they could adopt the sourwood tree as the town tree. And that's what started the Sourwood Festival 35 years ago. And it's brought 20 to 30,000 people to our town every year. And we're very proud of it. He was active in the Kiwanis Club, attended 45 years, and at 22 of that is a perfect attendance. And he was an inspiration. I wanted to mention that his inspiration to me was as a peacemaker. He was a pacifist and refused to fight in the First World War. And I followed suit, and overseas I worked for various organizations as a missionary the first 13 years, and then with the international organizations, UN and OAS, to further teach the rural poor people how to grow more food. I worked at 4-H clubs in 8 different countries in Latin America, after having been a 4-H'er and FFA myself. It's easy to be cynical, but it's hard to be an optimist and to pray that one day this gloomy world will find peace through faith in God, and that we can have locally as well as globally, our children will grow up in a better world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo.
Carl, I might add that his father was known as Mr. Sourwood. He always drove around town in a Volkswagen with a twig of sourwood on his antenna. So he was known as he was Perry. And he was
We don't have any problems identifying Pablo's car either. He's probably got 100 bumper stickers on his car. It's like it's a traveling billboard promoting all these ideals that he has.
That's right.
Have another proclamation, American Craft Week. Whereas the town of Black Mountain believes in the enduring value of handmade crafts and celebrate the artists and craftspeople who create them. Whereas these artists and craftsmen are an integral part of the economic base of Black Mountain and contribute to its cultural tourism. And whereas the craft heritage of the western North Carolina region traces back to the earliest settlers of the area who created handmade items to use in daily life. Whereas the western North Carolina region is now home to hundreds of artists and craftspeople. Whereas the town of Black Mountain believes that learning crafts, artisans, and cultural traditions in our region preserves and enriches community life. Now therefore, I, Carl Bartlett, Mayor of the town of Black Mountain, do hereby proclaim October 7th through 16th, 2011 as American Craft Week in Black Mountain. I ask that all citizens and visitors to commend its observance and take part in this celebration.
Carl, may I give you one more thing for October? The month of October is American Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and many of you are very familiar with this endeavor. I would also at this time like to recognize Van Burnett. He was the Person of the Week on Saturday the 10th on Channel 13. He was recognized. They had a wonderful clip on his behalf showing his farm and his endeavors to save the environment. So if you didn't see it, I see Mark shaking his head. You saw it too. It was good, wasn't it? Brought a lot of good publicity for Black Mountain, and this was last Saturday. So he needs to be recognized.
Is he here?
I don't see him. I don't believe so.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the clip. That was good. He does a great job. We have another recognition of employees this time. This is the State of North Carolina Department of Justice, Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission. To all to whom these presents may come greeting. Be it known that in recognition of the attainment of training and educational objectives commensurate with the role of a professional criminal justice officer and of personal devotion and service to the people of North Carolina, the Attorney General and the Chairman and members of the North Carolina Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission, through the authority vested in them by the laws of the state, do hereby award to Clifford Bond Gray this advanced law enforcement certificate with all the rights and privileges thereunto belong. Clifford, if you come forward, it's great. Appreciate the work you do.
Cliff, stay there just a minute. If I might, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just let folks know exactly what this award means, because this is the highest award of recognition for law enforcement officers in the state. The North Carolina Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission established the law enforcement officers professional certificate program to foster increased interest in college education and professional law enforcement training programs. The program was designed as a means to improve the profession as a whole and to recognize officers on both a statewide and nationwide basis for their commitment to achieving the highest personal standards in education, training, and on-the-job experience. This award is actually awarded on 3 different levels, and we have many officers who are working toward that. There's a basic, intermediate, and advanced. And in order to earn any level, an officer must complete a prescribed course of formal education, professional training, and years of service based on national and statewide standards in a recognized point system. Officer Gray has now earned all 3 of those levels and is being recognized tonight with the advanced level, more specifically for completing his 4-year degree at Western Carolina and over 500 hours of professional training and 14 years of service in law enforcement. This achievement represents a tremendous amount of work on the part of any officer who pursues it. It's a commitment to service excellence. It shows dedication to the profession on the part of the officers who achieve it, and is currently the highest award bestowed on any officer. Tonight, Cliff joins 4 other officers in our department who have achieved the highest level of certification. And together they form an impressive group of officers within our department who have reached this milestone. And those are officers Tim Spittle, Sergeant Thomas Lytle, who both of whom you recognized last month, Sergeant Rob Austin, and our Chief Kevin Presley. So we congratulate you for your achievements and are grateful to our department for upholding such high standards.
Thanks, Cliff. Next is our consent agenda. We did add 2 items to the consent agenda. E is we've been invited to participate with a consortium for the Land of the Sky and participating governments on economic development and sustainable communities. The next is the F would be the Town Square Committee meeting with consultants that would be set for, I believe it was October 13th. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, I believe you skipped over the citizen comment period, though, if you'd like to.
I have nobody signed up.
Oh. Do you want me to go through the items? The first item on the consent agenda is the adoption of minutes of your August 15th meetings. You had 3 of them. Item B is adoption of the Buncombe County Multi-Jurisdictional All Hazards Mitigation Plan. This is a plan which is being updated, is done on an every 5-year basis, and we are required to review this and adopt it in order to be eligible for FEMA funding. Item C is budget amendment recognizing the receipt of grant funding from the Nourishing North Carolina Community Garden Grant in the amount of $3,100. Supports the Dr. Wilson Community Garden here. Item D is a budget amendment recognizing receipt of donation from the Family Care Center for the town's July 4th fireworks display in the amount of nearly $8,000. And I would just like to add that without that private donation, the fireworks in this community would not be occurring, because that's something that has been written out of the budget for the last 2 years. So we're very grateful to the Family Care Center for continuing to provide this wonderful opportunity in the summer for our citizens. As the mayor mentioned, item E is to adopt the agreement with the Land of Sky Regional Council to join the Sustainable Communities Coalition. And item F is to set a special called workshop between the Board of Aldermen and the Town Square Steering Committee for, what was that date, Thursday, October 18th.
No, 13th.
Thursday, I'm sorry, 13th.
13th.
I didn't have it in front of me, thank you. At 6 p.m. in this room.
If you would, I'd like for the town clerk to prepare a letter to Family Care thanking them for this donation, and if you would, bring it back to the board, let all the board members sign that.
Would it not be a good idea to do a proclamation for them at our next meeting?
I think a letter would suffice. After they do it for 10 years, we'll give them a proclamation. Is there a motion we accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next is the United Way campaign. Janelle?
We are pleased as a town to have joined the United Way efforts last year for the first time. The town of Black Mountain joined the 2011 United Way campaign. I am pleased to introduce Janella Gray, who has served as our in-house coordinator, and she's done an absolutely terrific job in coordinating not only the employee giving campaign, but also a recent Day of Caring in which many of our employees participated. So she will introduce our guest.
I think we're going to show our pictures for our Day of Caring. Our Day of Caring was September the 1st. The Day of Caring was a day in which all the which people from all walks of life in the community gave of their time and energy to other organizations in need. And as you can see here, Casey up here, but we had 14 of our employees that volunteered and participated in the Day of Caring. We were partnered with the Art Space Charter School. And in our 6 hours, we plowed their winter garden, built compost bins, we built shelves in their garden shed, painted the garden shed, did a lot of weed eating and weeding, and matted art projects in the library. And as you can see, everybody worked really hard, and most of them did it with a smile on their face. All the staff at the Art Space School were very appreciative and of all the work that we accomplished. We had a good time. I think everybody had a good time. We worked very hard, didn't we, Marcy? I didn't know you put that. I was exhausted. I had blisters. Our United Way 2012 kickoff campaign is upcoming soon with the employee meetings. The employees are encouraged to donate to the United Way agency through their payroll deduction. And I would like to encourage all the board members to also participate through payroll deduction. That's an option to all of you. Our goal this year is to reach or pass our numbers from last year, even with our reduction in staff. We have with us tonight David Bailey. He's the Executive Director of the United Way of Asheville, Buncombe County. And so I'll just turn it over to David.
Thank you, Janelle. Good evening. Thanks for allowing me a few minutes on your agenda this evening. And I love the fact that you started with the volunteerism. And it's interesting how you can catch people in strange places when the volunteerism. We have the best pictures of our volunteers and community leaders doing some wild things for the community. Just as a reminder, the United Way of Asheville Buncombe County supports nonprofits in lots of different ways. Our theme is to live united, to give, to advocate, and to volunteer to help ensure long-term success for individuals and families in our community. And the volunteer part is so critical. We do that several ways. One is you guys participated last week. We have last week on our Day of Caring, September 1, we had over 1,200 volunteers. So you were a big part of 1,200 volunteers who were at 70 different projects representing 60 different companies. And not only did you give back to the community through your employees' time at the art space, but you also had folks in the town of Black Mountain. We had folks from the National Climatic Data Center, Beverly Hanks, SunTrust Bank, Gibbons, Carolina Spine and Neurosurgery Center, and Prudential Lifestyle working not on the grounds here, but also at the elementary school here. And so we think that's a great way to sort of launch our annual campaign is to have people to give their most important treasure, which is their time. And we're excited that you participated for the first time in that. So thank you so much. Gifts of dollars are important, but we all know that nonprofits in the public sector, particularly these days, need volunteer hours too. The other part of our key messages for United Way of Asheville and Buncombe County is our investments in education, income, and health. If you don't mind, I might ask you to grab one of those and pass it down. Joan has one from my presentation this morning, so maybe she doesn't need to take one. We continue to invest in great programs in our community, have been doing that for many, many years. We support worthy nonprofits who are doing good work in our community. We have for the last 15 years made sure that they gave us outcome information, which is information that if they are counseling a child or providing a meal or sheltering a client, how's that going to help them change their lives? We've been measuring that for the last 15 years. What we did in the last couple of years, though, was we took it one step further, because helping an individual, helping a family is important, but we want it to be connected. So we adopted education, income, and health as the building blocks for a good life. So if we're supporting Big Brothers Big Sisters or the YMCA, not only are they helping kids succeed in school and to get into school and ultimately graduate as individuals, we're trying to measure that collectively. And when you look at our investments, you'll know that during this year we're going to support 2,100 kids to stay in school and ultimately graduate, because we think the graduation rate could be better, because kids who don't graduate cost our community. They cost us because they have a high unemployment rate, they typically have more risky behavior, and they're also more likely to be incarcerated. So we want individuals to do well, but we want our community to do better. And so we're connecting the dots in education, income, and health. If you looked at that brochure, you can see the same thing about income or financial stability. We want families to be out of emergency assistance and onto financial stability. So we're supporting programs through On Track and MANA that are giving them sort of the skills to get better in their lives. We're also making sure in health that we're giving folks a way, particularly children, a way to avoid abuse and neglect. But if they are abused and neglected, we give them the support and counseling to make sure they get back on their feet. And also to make sure they have access to mental health counseling, behavioral counseling, and healthy lifestyles that, again, make our community a better place to live and to work and to raise our families. So we really are about education, income, and health in very focused ways. We partner with 40 agencies to provide 80 programs that serve all of Buncombe County. We're really pleased that we are giving a significant amount of dollars to Mount Airy Family Child Center this year, because they're just doing a great job, not only with the individual child, but with the whole family. And they're doing some really best practice services for this area, but also the whole county. So we're really excited about that. Let me mention the other thing in terms of not only is our hands-on Judea caring, but our hands-on also links up volunteers year-round. Last year alone, 3,000 volunteers were linked up with appropriate services and appropriate programs in the community. It's a great way to volunteer. The other service that we give, if volunteerism, hands-on is we want to give, the get is the 211, and I hope you take advantage of that. Our records show that nearly 500 citizens in the Black Mountain area accessed those services last year. And 211 is a 3-digit number that you can call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to get any information about a community need in our community service in our county. It's the only accredited one in the state, and it's only of a handful accredited in the southeast. They handle 50,000 calls a year alone. So we ask you to sort of promote that within your community here and use it for a simple question such as, I just moved to the community and I need to find out how to get my kid enrolled in school, to something more life changing, such as I'm fleeing a domestic violence situation, I need to find safe shelter. We can take care of any of those needs in the community, and we're really excited about that. Let me end with what I think is probably something we're really excited about. We decided when we moved to education, income, and health, that we would choose one thing that we wanted to move the needle on a little bit more. So we looked at it. We had Dana Stonestreet, Home Trust Bank, convene some volunteers, and we studied the issue for 3 or 4 months. What's one area in education, income, and health that we could move the needle more? And we decided that middle school success was critical. There's a lot of emphasis on early education, a lot of emphasis on high school. We've heard middle school sort of described the Bermuda Triangle of sort of developmental stage and of education. And so what we did was we started a focused initiative with middle school success, and we have the ABCs of this focused initiative. The A part is that we're working with Asheville Middle School. They had targeted that as a priority a couple years ago, so we're investing some resources to improve their program, to help with the database management, and also help them with training so that they can be a better program. And after the first year, they're doing some good things. The B part is Buncombe County. We talked with the county schools and said, where is this needed in the county schools? And we're pleased that after some conversations, we've had planned and developed and launched just 3 weeks ago at the start of the education year, a program like this at Owen Middle School. We're going to have as many as 60 or 70 children and their families, and these enhancement in academic programs to help them make good choices about their middle school years. and that's gonna mean they're gonna stay in school, which means they're gonna graduate, and that's good for all of us. And so we really are focused on making sure this, in the long term, is a county-wide program, that all middle schools have this enhancement. But we're glad that we chose Owen Middle School and working with Vicki Matthews on that. The third thing is the community. How can we make the community more aware of the importance of middle school? You talk to middle school teachers and principals, they think they're the stepchild in the education system. And so we're learning and enlightening everybody about the importance of middle. And what we started just in the last couple of weeks, and you may see the billboards that came out, is a community education called You Need the Middle. Mayor Bartlett got this. We have a series of posters. Here's the roller coaster without the middle. And it says, as a community, when we provide middle school students with ongoing encouragement and support during this critical time, we can stop them from falling off. We have several. I'll show you the other one. For all you risk takers. He needs the middle, doesn't he? So we hope that you'll display these in town hall so anybody comes in and see it. We have great information on our website, unitedwayabc.org, on middle school success and the importance of kids who achieve in school and how much better they do in life. But we appreciate the partnership. We appreciate your partnership not only Day of Caring, but also in the campaign. And we're glad that your employees and your volunteers really do live united. They give their dollars, they advocate for the community, particularly people without a voice, and they volunteer. You're truly just role models for all of Buncombe County. Thank you.
David, can I ask you a question? Back a few years ago, and it was through Land of the Sky, you published a number of the 211 pamphlets, and at that time we brought a great number of them out here to Black Mountain to pass out. Are y'all still doing that along with Land of the Sky?
Well, we have done that. We actually did it just 2 years ago. We published another directory. What we find is because there's 2,000 pieces of data just for our community, it changes and quickly becomes outdated. So we may have some ones that we printed last year that we could get to you. What we do find is that if people need the resources, one, to call the number, because our trained referral specialists know and can anticipate what your call may be about. The other thing is that the database they're looking at is available online. So you can go to 211WNC.org and look up any resource in Buncombe County for the elderly, for food, whatever. So we think that way makes it, because it's always current then, and it's just the most accurate information.
You mentioned earlier today at the meeting I was at where you spoke about the amount of backpack program that y'all are involved in. And I wanted to add to that, you had already left this morning, the Black Mountain Welcome Table has partnered with MANA, and they are providing extra stuff into the backpacks here for Black Mountain, things that MANA will not put into the sacks. The Black Mountain Welcome Table is footing the expense for this, but we appreciate what all you all do with MANA. The other thing is your program down at Owen. Thank you. It's about 20 years late for me. I was there in the valley for 43 years with the middle school children, and I'm so glad to see this. It was needed years ago. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Precious. Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you, David. Good job. And report from Recreation Commission, John DeWitt, Chairman.
I put it on PowerPoint too, so you can follow with me. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us to serve on the Parks and Rec Commission. This is kind of a summary of what we've done during the year. My first slide is the members of the Parks Commission. I think they all need to be recognized and thanked publicly because they meet monthly and they do a lot of extra homework in order to prepare for meetings and follow up. So those are our members. Our first discussion will be on the tennis courts itself. We recommended that the drainage ditch be built around the courts. We recommended that soil sampling be done under the courts to determine water and soil composition. We recommended that the town take contractor to court for the inadequate job he's done on the resurfacing. We reviewed the drainage issue at the courts and requested recommendation from the consultants regarding putting in the French drain, which has been done. The town has authorized the French drain to be put in. In terms of the Lake Tomahawk and Senior Center, we have supported the Park Rhythms concert and strongly recommend that you keep all 8 concerts. I know it was up for discussion during the budget hearings, but it is truly a community well liked by this community. We recommended the renovation of the building and making the center fully ADA compliant. And we thank you for following up on that because it is beautifully done. We also support the many programs that are being done for our senior citizens at the center. We continue to support the cleaning up of the grounds and the track and to limit the bird infestation. It's a constant problem. If you walk around that area, the bird, and we appreciate trying to control that. We recommended the change in fees to increase the usage of the buildings and change some of the fees, which you all supported. And we'd like to extend our compliments to Mark, public service staff, and the park staff for the tremendous upkeep they've done at Lake Tomahawk Park. In terms of the sports program, we've recommended change in the fee structure for sports participation, which you've approved. We supported the changes in organizations that participate in the programs, and our compliments to Casey and the recreation staff for implementing the various programs for all ages in the community. For the community garden, we've encouraged staff to apply for grants to support the program, which you've approved tonight, one of them. We supported the expansion of the program, and we certainly thank you again for supporting our recommendation to name the garden after Dr. Wilson. In terms of the golf course, we've spent a lot of time on the golf course issues this year. We evaluated the concerns expressed by the public a year ago regarding the condition of the course. We've submitted a 5-page recommendation to you regarding the improvements needed at the golf course. We've recommended the staff changes, including the hiring a full-time golf manager at the point at which you approved that. And we reviewed the contract and recommended the golf management contract to you all, which you've also approved. And we thank you for all of that. To just update you on the Parks and Greenway Foundation, which is part of the parks that was established as a separate foundation for the town. Just to show you the 7 organizations that have joined under the foundation's tax exempt status. And at this point, we do have $25,000 in our checking account specifically allocated and controlled by those commissions. It has been very successful, and we thank you for supporting us to allow us to establish that foundation. In terms of our future plans, we will continue to monitor the tennis courts and the drainage issues there, and hopefully we'll get something resolved there, especially with the surface. We work with staff on league issues related to basketball, and we have a recommendation that will come to you very soon on that. We will continue to monitor the golf usage and income and expenses on a monthly basis, as we will be getting reports also from the Billy Casper Golf Management Company. We are reviewing the fall and the winter sports and to make recommendations to you as to that activity. We will continue to monitor the ADA compliance in all parks and recreation programs. We will continue to support and probably advocate for a tobacco-free town property, which is coming up, I think, as an issue here. And obviously, we will do other duties that you have asked us or the staff have asked us. That is our report. Thank you.
I got a question, John.
Yes, sir.
You say y'all reviewed contract and recommended the golf management company to the Board of Aldermen. When did you folks get the contract?
We were at the meeting when the Billy Casper people presented the first draft in April. I think in April when they presented the first draft, we got a copy and we took it back and looked at it. And we had a couple of our board members, commission members were here, who were here for that presentation and looked at the contract with you, and we looked at it.
Well, I know we got it like an hour before the meeting, the final draft.
Yeah, it was that first draft that was circulated when he brought up the sample draft, and at that point is when you all suggested some of the changes that you wanted that I think the town manager worked on for the final one.
Yeah, so you didn't review the final contract? what you were doing, reviewing those 2 pages that they gave to
The
us.
13 pages that,
Well, I mean, there was really 2 pages, and there was a lot of other
I
stuff.
know,
too,
I've
But
changed,
that's
yeah,
what
a
you
lot
were,
of
but
it,
that's
yeah.
what you were reviewing.
we looked at it before you all, at the same time you looked at it too. And so the changes that were recommended.
At the same time that we looked at, not the final contract. You never looked at the final
At
contract.
the same time you all did here. We did-
Yeah, it is in the audience.
Right.
Oh,
We
okay.
had, we
Well,
had
that's-
already
yeah,
been
so.
brought up to date on the 7 changes that you had requested to look at, including like.
One question I've got then on this, when you get to the performance factors, what are you say here you're going to monitor the golf users' income and expenses, which is good stuff.
Well,
But what about on the performance factors? Specifically, if the performance is not good, what then is the
Well, we'll
is the
come back to
Recreation
you
Commission?
with looking at why the performance isn't to the standard we want. Because one of the things we looked at was there is going to be an increase in the number of players. The grounds will continue to improve, and we will constantly monitor that. We also get a lot of input from players, while we run around. So if we feel that something isn't being done, or that we don't see the kinds of things that we anticipate being seen, we will come back to you all and say, hey, folks, you all need to look at this contract again. I mean, it is your contract, you're the people that run it, and our business is to provide you feedback as a commission on concerns that the public has.
How about the 19th hole? Seems like we've been on that about 4 months.
Well, I think if you look back historically, the first time it was brought up, there was a question about tearing it down. Then it was kind of like, let's renovate it, then let's renovate it, but let's put out a RFP to see what the vendor will want with it. Then the vendor got it, then the welcome table decided after not to take it. Then it went back to you all, and you all decided, okay, let's renovate it. So my understanding is by the time it went through the system, the contract was signed July the 8th. So it's really been a little over 2 months since they got the contract. So and I think it's almost finished. I toured it last week, and I think it'll be open. And I think if you've seen it, it really looks, it's going to be something this town will be really proud of.
One final thing. Carver Center, do you guys do anything with the Carver Center through the Recreation Commission? Don't you have some programs over there?
Well, there are programs over there, the child care, and obviously the audiences for the offices for the thing right there.
Falls under the auspices of you guys in the Recreation Commission, or doesn't it? I don't know. It does.
It does.
Now, when I looked at the budget, that thing had a $24,000 fuel oil bill. There's no recommendations on that
Yeah,
to
we've
be
looked
done?
at recommendations other than closing it, fixing it, renovating it. But we expressed that concern at one meeting, and it was not, we really weren't at the position to make any serious recommendations.
What about just a
I'm
simple
used to that.
recommendation of just putting some insulation above the drop ceiling?
On the windows, I think the windows are leaking too.
Well, no. My question to you is, I'd made the recommendation that we look at going ahead and specifically putting some insulation, which would be the simplest thing and the cheapest thing that you could do, into the ceiling to stop losing so much heat up. There's other things too. Whatever happened with that?
I don't think that ever came to the Recreation Commission. I do not remember that.
Okay, so y'all didn't discuss it, after I mentioned it here, y'all didn't discuss it either as a possibility?
I don't remember you ever saying that to us.
Oh, yeah, I've said it up here. I was just
Okay, no,
wondering.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It has not, it has not come to us.
23,000 mean that's a lot of money, and that is one way that we could really reduce the expenses over there immediately.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I really think some of that money that was spent on 19th hole should have been used at the Carver Center to make that more, a building that was more economical to keep up. Thank you, John. Thanks for all the work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
You wanted to address it?
I was just going to remind this board that you adopted a budget that included conversion of fuel source from gas, or from oil to gas, and we do have a natural gas line coming down right by there. The only reason it has not been converted is that we're waiting for the installation of the gas line.
If you don't have insulation, gas is not going to help.
No, but it will reduce fuel costs significantly.
Okay. Unfinished business?
With your last meeting, you did sign a contract for management services agreement with Billy Casper Golf. That took place September, the contract became effective September 1st, and I'm pleased to say that we've had a great response from Billy Casper, and we've had lots of activity going on, and tonight to represent Billy Casper is Bob Geppert, the Business Development Director for them, and he is serving as the transition coordinator for the golf course, and I'd like Bob to come forward and just give you an update on where they are and give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Aldermen. Thank you very much for having me. We've been here since the 1st of September officially, managing your golf course. I'm going to tell the same thing I've been telling Marcy. We didn't buy the place. You're our customer. We're going to do exactly what you want. We've hired every employee that applied for positions. We hired Brent Miller as our director of golf. That's a title in our organization that acts as a general manager. So Brent will be in charge of the golf course. Very pleased with his reception and what he has said to us and what he wants to do and where he wants to go forward. I will tell you that about a year ago, Marcy directed Brent to start collecting data. So when we arrived, I found that you have 824 captured data information on every member that's a member of the golf course, which for me just means I've got a whole year's advance data capture so that I can go ahead and market to those people directly. So the good news, we met with John Shaw, your superintendent. We've hired John. I brought 2 agronomists in to meet with John, look at your golf course and examine it. They've all come back with high regard for John. We've got a couple of things we'd like to see him do. We'd like to increase the greens conditioning and speed. I know everybody here that plays golf says, well, it's not that fast. You know, just as long as I can make the putt. But you've got a really nice golf course that has got some real potential in it. The biggest question that most people ask me is, well, where are you going to bring all the employees? Because you're not going to hire everybody. And you're going to double prices, right? My question is, where do you think I'm going to get all of these employees? You've got them all right here. And second, if I could double prices, do you really think that people would come and play golf? So the real question is to get more people playing, and that comes from either condition or attitude. And we've done this a number of times. This is my 43rd transition with Billy Casper Golf, so that means it's the 43rd golf course that I've gone through this with. Your city has been a delight to deal with. I want to thank Mr. Louie back there in the corner. He's been excellent, got a real handle on the finance of this place, and it's really been a pleasure to deal with him. Marcy's been just as nice as she can be to handle it, helped us. She's explained everything, worked through everything with us, and we've not had a glitch so far. So we're pleased that we're here. You've got a really nice golf course. We know that we can bring something to the table to improve the profitability of this golf course. We've done this a number of times, and this is going to happen here as well. Unfortunately, if you could just move winter 6 months down the road so I can have some better weather, that'd be easy. So with that, I'd like to open it to any questions that the board has that you would like to ask of us as to where we're going. I know the mayor was concerned about the 19th hole, which is always a concern on any golf course. It's a big expense. It's something everybody wants bigger. I have never been to a golf course yet that somebody said, I just need a bigger clubhouse. Most people come for the greens, fairways, and tees. With that, any questions?
What about you? You've done some pro formas for this coming year.
Yes, sir.
We'd like to see those.
Well, absolutely. You'll have to, we'll give you a budget, you'll approve that budget.
Absolutely.
But for this remainder of this year, you know, our budget runs a little different from yours.
No, we'll run a budget along with yours, and we will give you a budget. It takes us a little while when we come on board because we're learning as much as we think we know all about how to run a golf course. The first thing we have to do is listen to all of you. What are the hidden issues that we've not been aware of? What are the customer wants? So we're listening right now, creating a budget. That budget should have been done at the end of today, and I'm surprised I didn't get it. Marcy didn't get it either, so I'll probably have it first thing in the morning. But you will get that budget and get to approve that budget. Absolutely. We didn't buy the place. It's still yours. We need to perform for you, and we do. You're going to like what we're going to do.
And if we don't, we're still stuck with you.
No, sir, not at all. No, you can get rid of me. It's in the contract, you know that. We have never been fired by a city yet, so I will tell you that we will get, you will be pleased with what we do.
Any questions? Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion here that we, because they're gonna bring the budget to us, and then as this board, I think it would be something that we could present to them, and hopefully they would, Billy Casper would agree if this board agrees, and that's just a very simple motion to go ahead and let all active service men and women who live in the city of Black Mountain to be able to play golf at our facility for free. I think that's for what they're doing for our country. I think it's a good thing to offer. If they wish to use a golf cart, they'd have to pay for it. But if they just wish to walk, I think it would be it'd be a real sign of our support of those people that are in the military. And I'll make that motion now. That we would recommend that to the Billy Casper to follow up with that.
110% behind that. We do that almost everywhere. Just need an ID card, and it's not a problem anywhere, and it's never been abused. We like that a lot.
You've heard the question. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I did not hear what you said.
We do it a lot. This is a very common for everybody with an ID card, and it's an ID card situation. Not that you were in the military, or that you're going to be in the military, but you are an active duty military person. You can bring an ID card to the events. At that point in time, all you have to do is pay for a card. We are 100% behind that. That's wonderful PR. We do it many places.
And I said Black Mountain, I meant just anywhere. I mean, any serviceman. So that's.
Oh, yes.
So that's the motion.
As long as I got an active ID card.
Black
Absolutely.
active.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. New business. Is there a motion to authorize the mayor or the manager to request the Buncombe County Board of Elections to provide one early voting site in Black Mountain for the dates of Saturday, October 29, 2011 through Saturday, November 5th, 2011. Immediately preceding the general election on November 8th, 2011, and to approve budget amendment BA 2012-03 allocating $7,000 from fund balance to line item 10-4100-450 to cover the associated cost. Is there a motion? Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have a problem with this for one, and that it's my understanding that any citizen in Buncombe County, because this is a countywide election, can vote anywhere in the county. Therefore, a citizen from Black Mountain can go to Asheville and vote. We also have absentee ballots that could be used to where if a citizen couldn't go and vote on November, I think it's November 8th also. So I would have a problem with spending $7,000 from our fund balance, especially at such a difficult time in our budget and our economy, to make that happen.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I would like to say our fund balance is our savings account for necessities. And to me, early voting, since we have access to all the other voting sites in Buncombe County, that is not a necessity. So I would certainly be opposed to spending $7,000 as tight as our budget is. That's just the way I feel about it.
All the other voting sites are in the city of Asheville. They're not out in the county. Any other discussion?
Well, they can go to the Board of Elections as well.
Yeah.
When we're talking about necessities, this is the foundation of America's being able to vote. And, to spend $7,000 to encourage people and to help people who, for basic no reason of their own, a sickness, an injury, something like this, transportation. I mean, they may not be able to drive. You think of the expense it is to get to the city of Asheville. I just think that while this is money, I think it's money well spent. We are trying to encourage people to vote, and we need to be doing everything we can to get people to vote.
We do have the early voting during the general election, particularly because of the long lines on general election day. we have 4 precincts here where the various areas of Black Mountain are divided to go. And in a big general election, yes, the one-stop or early voting is very, very needed. It cuts down on the long lines. But on our local election, our lines are never long. I have worked the polls for many, many years. I was a judge at Lake Tomahawk and at Carver for a number of years. And on a local little town election, the turnout is not that good that would warrant giving extra Saturdays to come and vote. So I am definitely not in favor of spending $7,000 at this time, but would encourage the voters to go to the polls on election day and do their right as a citizen and vote.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion defeated. If you want to do early voting, you gotta go to Ashland. Okay, appointments to fill vacancy on town boards and commissions. Housing Commission, any nominations?
I nominate Bob Polly.
Okay. Any others? All those in favor of Bob Polly, raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your right hand.
Mr. Mayor,
Applicant is defeated.
could I give some discussion to that, why I voted that way?
Let's-
One, I think we have 2 vacancies on that commission right now. And I would like for the town clerk to go back and re-advertise those positions to see if we can get some of our citizens more involved in things going on here. That has nothing to do with Mr. Pauley personally, but I would like to see if we can get some more people interested in trying to get on some of these commissions and boards.
You had 2 openings, and yes, here's a guy wanting to volunteer, and you turn around and say, no, I don't want him.
You got somebody that's willing to participate, and so you want more people to participate.
We discussed this during the agenda meeting, and I thought we had a consensus that nothing against Bob Pauley, that it's just better to have some more applications. I didn't see any problem in the agenda room, and I still don't see a problem just waiting for more applications. Certainly, Mr. Pauley would make an excellent member, and I hope he will serve on the Housing Commission. I'm just surprised it did not come off of the agenda.
We would appreciate your vote had you felt that way. I'm
Exactly.
sure.
I mean, here's a gentleman well qualified, and here we just kick the can down the road.
Got experience with that.
Historic Preservation Commission, no applicants. Communications from staff, Town Attorney Ron Sneed.
Couple of items, Mr. Mayor. During the Recreation Commission report was the recommendation of the commission and the direction of this board, of course, we take board action to have S&S fence and tennis court building company either repair their work on the courts, which they refused to do, or refund their money. That lawsuit has been filed. Second issue that will come up, nobody's asked yet, is the settings. Notice to the bonding companies was given that we intend to call those bonds. End of last week, I got the last of round 1 of the responses for the 2 bonds. I call it the 2 bonding companies, and they're essentially one company under 2 names. They came back with things that they demand of us or request of us to proceed. A lot of that information is in the county files. I'll be collecting that information, taking the next step on the settings.
You want to, I know you sent me an email, you want to touch lightly on the tennis courts.
The lawsuit against the S&S Fence and Tennis Court Builders, Inc., that lawsuit alleges that they breached their contract by not making the repair, providing the service they contracted to provide, breached the warranties in their contract where the contract stated that they would provide good material applied in a workmanlike manner, and that they were negligent in how they installed it, and we allege that they did not follow the manufacturer's specification. That lawsuit is filed. I sent it to be served by certified mail. At the point where I get the little green card back and know when they're served, then I'll know the timetable on their way into court. This is court process. not particularly quick, this thing. We're more likely to settle at mediation in 3 or 4 months. If it goes to trial, that trial could be as far out as 9 to 12 months, but it is in the process.
Dr. Ron. Mr. Sneed, did you say that you sent that, the mayor said that you sent him an email pertaining to that?
He just sent me an email that said, where is it? And I think I answered him today, that it was filed, had been filed.
Any information like that, I'd like to get a copy of it too by email.
Sir. There was a one-liner, I think I answered him in 4 words.
Thank you.
Town manager.
I don't have anything beyond what we discussed in the agenda session, but I would like to commend to you a series of dates and schedules for the next month, also to the audience. There are a number of candidate forums coming up that are open to the public. You all are all involved in those. And again, we've not had the one-stop voting, so that needs to be taken off that list. But otherwise, I think you have a complete schedule of activities this month, all of which are open to the public, and there's some good information there, so I'd commend that to you for your review.
Anybody on the board have any comments?
Yes, I certainly do. Matter of fact, I'm going to
Chair
read it.
recognizes Ms. Brown.
Matter of fact, I'm going to read it, and I hope you can hear me. I just want to say that I was distressed recently to find that our little town politics has once again sunk to a new low. This past week, my business downtown was vandalized. An ugly political flyer was glued to the window, and I have it here with me for you to see. I'm sure it's hard to see, but anyway, notice it was unsigned. The very tone of this flyer was reminiscent of another unsigned flyer, which was mailed in October 1987. I have a pretty good memory, which resulted, as I recall, in charges. Well, actually, I'll back up again just to say that I had hoped that lessons were learned from that, but apparently not. Because this unsigned flyer appears to also be in violation of North Carolina General Statute 163-278-14A. Aside from being mean-spirited and downright ugly, those responsible were so lacking of character and honor they had to vandalize during the hours of darkness. Since this despicable flyer targeted both myself and Alderman Brown, and I'm sure she hasn't seen it, so I'm going to show her also a copy. There's a copy you can read for your own pleasure. This is just a little too much. I think the other candidates in this race should affirm they not only disapprove of this, but also had nothing to do with it and no knowledge of it. If this kind of thing continues, the next thing we can expect will be another one of those, again it was 1987, another one of those, did you know? Kindergarten level, did you know's, unsigned letters. Which, when charges were filed, ended up being pretty revealing. But finally, despite the malice shown by this little this little thing. This little unsigned flower, someone did not even have the courage to sign their name. In spite of this, I can assure the citizens of our town that I will not sink to this level, and I will continue to serve all the citizens, regardless of their politics. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I will add that I understand also that these were posted on some windows of some government buildings, which is not a good idea.
No other comments? Then I'll accept the motion that we go into executive session.
I'll make a motion, to go into executive session.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed?